What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and why was the most recent Fortnite update delayed? Are there any free rewards you can actually obtain in-game, such as these free wheels right here that I'm showing on screen? And what's going on with super level variants? Well, in today's YouTube video, we'll be recapping all the information for you guys, telling you about the delay and everything else, but let's start it off with these free tri-trim wheels right here. These are actually available through the Epic Games Mega Sale over on PC. Now, I'm uncertain if you're able to get this on consoles, however, with previous Mega Sales, it typically ends up being a PC exclusive thing. However, even if you don't have a computer, you can go to the Epic Store on your web browser, Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Brave, whatever else you use, and you can actually log into your Epic Games account and still claim these wheels, and there's a chance they might show up in game once you do launch Rocket League. But with that said, these are the only real free reward we really have right now. I can go down to the cars and show you the wheels, for example, in the locker. I guess we should probably sort by latest acquired. Hopefully that puts it at the top. Yeah, right here. Even though it has all these other painted variants, it appears like they're not going to actually end up selling any of these variants, putting them in the shop or whatever else, and they're just giving you this base variant right here entirely for free. Now, we have had previous situations of cosmetics that actually have these different painted styles, where they ended up actually removing those painted styles from the game files in the next update following the free cosmetic being released. Now, at the same time, some of these colors look pretty nice, and I would like to see if maybe they can give us a little bit of a discount, put these wheels in the item shop or something, and call it a day there. But overall, a free set of wheels, it doesn't hurt anyone, and it is something that you're able to claim until I think June 12th. Early June is when this actually goes away. But other than that, we have to talk about something that actually ended up happening, which was the brand new Fortnite update v35.10 being delayed. This now means if you go here to the Grievous rewards, for example, every single reward just says gain 1 level, and for some reason you can even kind of hold down to claim a reward, which doesn't actually even claim anything, as you can see right here. This is a issue due to them originally having everything scheduled to release on the 15th, aka today, and then they delayed it to actually releasing on the 16th, aka tomorrow at 4 a.m. Eastern time. Because of that, you will not be able to actually obtain General Grievous as of right now, and all the other rewards are still going to be question marks until they actually release. But if we go over to the bonus rewards tab, we also have the unknown super level variants that you can try to claim, but it won't let you. I'll go ahead and try claiming one of these right now. As you can see right here, it mentions that you're unable to actually purchase it. If you try enabling auto claim, it should just kind of break. Hopefully I didn't just soft lock my game. Okay, it didn't even claim it to begin with. Alright, that's interesting to see. But this is one of the weird oddities that are going on due to them having everything scheduled for the 15th and then delaying everything last minute. If we go over to the quest menu, we do have weekly set 2 quests set to release tomorrow, so you won't have to worry about those being broken or anything like that. Those will be completely fine. But in terms of everything else, it just feels a little bit off. Now, to explain why this update was delayed, according to Tim Sweeney over on Twitter, they delayed this update so that when they send the new version of Fortnite for review with Apple to get it back on the US app stores, it would actually be submitted for review at the exact same time as every other platform getting the update, so it wouldn't have to be a situation of them submitting the app for review and then it getting approved and then them having to submit it again to get it approved when they already just released the new update. They're trying to avoid all the confusion, so the main reason why the update had actually gotten delayed by 1 day is literally just because of the fact that they want to make sure they can submit the proper version to Apple so that it gets reviewed. We already had a situation before where the old version that they submitted a week or 2 ago at this point was stuck in the review process for over 100 hours, which is way odd. It's not something that typically happens, but it is something that ended up happening with Fortnite recently, and I kind of said in a previous video that was probably going to happen. So these rewards right here that are currently, marked as question marks still, that you're technically able to claim, you're not actually going to be able to actually earn anything from it until the update comes out, but it is nice to know that you can't accidentally redeem anything and then lock yourself out of some super level variants. And then over here as well, you won't earn anything for actually earning a level. So for example, right here, the General Grievous skin, even though this is just earn 1 level and you're supposed to get it, you won't actually be granted this because technically the quest isn't fully enabled in game yet. Other than that though, we do have some other stuff to talk about because we do have some actual announcements for the update. So let me go ahead and pop up this blog post over on screen regarding Ballistic's brand new test grounds update. update. We'll start off by we'll start off by actually watching the video right here that talks about the update. Now, I'm not going to actually play any of the audio or anything because I'm just going to kind of yap and talk over it, but they're going to be doing a few interesting changes. We got a brand new shell map they're releasing in the game. Now, this one is called Cinderwatch, as you can see it right there, and it's set to be around, like, you know, this whole entire, like, water theme near, like, a volcano type of thing, which is why you saw, like, the Atlantis fish stick skin and all that type of stuff as a statue. However, some other things we actually see is, for example, right here, a brand new skin that's supposed to be added in the update. That is one of the most important things to kind of talk about regarding everything. As you know, we got a new skin here and there, and there's actually two we can show you in this actual video once it gets around to everything. But the second skin that they're actually going to showcase is going to be in a few moments, hopefully. Oh yeah, then we're getting to all these other features that they're mentioning in the video in a moment. So, like, voting to surrender, we will talk about that shortly. But the second new skin that's going to be added with this next game update is set to be... I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit so we can actually get to it. Actually, it's right here, yeah. This brand new, like, Foxfire-esque skin or whatever, you know, one of those old Oni skins we had actually seen before. This is set to be one of those new skins that actually release in the item shop after this update comes out. And they've been kind of using these Ballistic test ground update videos as a way to tease all this type of stuff. They also mentioned that they're changing some of the old shell maps in order to kind of improve it here and there. So with this, let's go ahead and scroll down and show you everything you need to know. So firstly, we have Cinderwatch right here, which is nestled underfoot in it's like underneath an active volcano, and an ocean's hideaway or oceanside hideaway with a Mediterranean vibe is going on in this entire map. This will join the map rotation with the game update on May 16th, and it will be alongside Skyline 10, Hammerfall, and Storm Chaser Cove in both the test ground playlists, but also in ranked on day one. They also mention right here that this is a shell map, meaning it lacks environmental details for now, and they're going to make changes based on your feedback, which is why a lot of the stuff isn't actually textured in the map, but it is something that's still playable. But they also mentioned right here that gadgets are now going to be free because they're trying to entice players to actually use those gadgets more often in game by deciding, hey, you know, this was your own little exclusive thing that you chose out of everyone else in your team. Let's make sure that only you can use your exclusive little goodie. Now, it does mention right here that you'll boot into each round with 2 of your selected gadget at your disposal in your inventory free of charge, so you don't gotta buy that, but they also have made some other changes to the economy. Credits gained from winning a round has been reduced from 3,300 to 3,100. Credits gained from losing a round has been reduced from 2,500 to 2,300. Smoke grenade credit cost has been increased by 100 credits all the way up to 300. The flash grenade credit cost has also been increased by 100 from 200 to 300. And then they increased the cost of the burst assault rifle from 2,000 credits to 2,300 credits. So a lot of changes going on there. You know, at least they're making some things free, but they decided to balance it by making you earn a little bit less money and increasing the cost of some of the other grenades and ARs in the game. But a very interesting change is this right here. The blaster rifle from Star Wars, the DL-44, is going to be replacing a actual pistol in the game, which is the starting pistol everyone starts with until V36.00. So the Ranger pistol will be vaulted, and instead you'll be able to actually have this blaster pistol in Ballistic, which I think is a very odd change. They basically just throw a Star Wars pistol in the game and call it a day, but at the same time, it's interesting, and let's see how it actually ends up working in the gameplay loop. But they also mentioned right here that with the V35.10, there's now going to be a dedicated pistol slot, which means that the pistols will no longer take up the slot of your primary weapon. For example, buying the hand cannon or any other pistol added to Ballistic in the future will now replace the Ranger pistol instead, or until that V36.00 update, it will replace the DL-44 blaster pistol. So if you buy a pistol on the start of the round buy menu, you won't have that pistol and a starter pistol anymore. You'll only have one pistol that you're able to actually equip at a time, and then you can also have a primary weapon. Now, they've also added the vote to surrender option. Now, you'll be able to do this at the start of the third round, or actually after the third round right here, by opening the scoreboard and hitting the option to surrender. At the start of the round, the surrender vote will appear on all the players' screens for your team, and the game will end if the majority of the votes actually do vote to surrender. So let's say 3 people vote yes, 2 people vote no, majority voted yes, so it will go to surrender. If 2 people vote yes, 2 people vote no, and there's one person who just doesn't vote, I think it ties and it just doesn't surrender you, so keep that in mind. But they have also made some changes, so like I mentioned before, Storm Chaser Cove has actually had some changes here. They mentioned that they've gone ahead and adjusted by adding adding like new walls between mid and site B to increase flank time. They've increased the size of site B in order to make it so that you're able to have like a wider open area and stuff like that. They're adding low sitting cover and props everywhere, and they're doing a lot of little changes here and there. They also mentioned that they're going to continue looking at the maps and how they should change it based on people's feedback, and that is going to continue going into Cinderwatch, but they go down here into some little bug fixes. So some things to kind of keep in mind is that Storm Chaser Cove will have these exploits fixed, which is pretty nice to see, and then they got a little bit of, some bug fixes here and there. However, the main part I want to talk about is this other changes area. They fixed an issue causing crashes after trying to return to the lobby from a match. They fixed an issue where some players were unable to defuse the Rift Point device when under the effect of overdrive, which is my favorite gadget to actually use, so having it for free is going to be pretty fun. And then they've also nerfed the overdrive duration from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, and actually like halved its fire rate, which I think is actually a buff. So they have nerfed how long it lasts, but they have increased how fast you actually shoot your gun. Actually, wait, no, scrap that. This is a nerf overall. My brain just clicked together, the sparks ignited, and this is a nerf, because now the fire rate increase is going to be half of what it was before this update, meaning how fast you were shooting already from the overdrive being active. Now it's going to be like 1.5 times as effective instead of 2 times as effective. So you get a slight nerf there, and of course it lasts 2 seconds less. But overall, a lot of changes here for Test Grounds update number 2. Nice to see that we're getting stuff like vote to surrender officially in the game, but it is interesting to see how they kind of just delayed this update last minute. It also makes me want to go over here to the Galactic Battle blog post to see if they've also delayed the Chewbacca thing to say May 16th instead of the 15th, which is, a small change, but might as well check it in this video. Nope, it still says the 15th. This right here, this content that you're seeing on screen is actually set to release tomorrow instead of today because of all these little issues. And they also have okay, let me just show you this, right? They've also made this little fix right here. So they've identified an issue where the invert aircraft controls feature hasn't actually applied to the TIE Fighter and X-Wing craft in game. So starting with the next game update, you'll actually be able to invert the fighter controls of the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing in the actual game settings by going to settings, game, extra game options, invert fighter controls, and turning that on. I know this was something that a lot of people were curious about and they were having issues with. So it is nice to have this confirmed that it is going to be fixed, and it will be its own option or like toggleable thing with tomorrow's game update. But with that said, of course my video from yesterday still stands put. Everything mentioned in there is still accurate of stuff that's going to be going down with the brand new update. It's just that it got delayed 1 extra day because of the fact they want to go ahead and make it so when it does release in the game, they're able to submit that version for review with Apple at the exact same time. But until next time, I hope you champions and champions enjoyed today's video. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it, and until tomorrow, peace out.